For over 100 years, one name has been way more than just a car brand. It's woven into the fabric of America, a symbol of hitting the open road, and a genuine global automotive force. This is the story of Chevrolet, an empire built on a racer's pure ambition, a businessman's incredible cunning, and a logo that, believe it or not, is still a total mystery. So let's just dive right in with that symbol, the Chevrolet bow tie. We all know it, right? It's got to be one of the most famous logos on the entire planet. But what if I told you that nobody, and I mean nobody, knows for sure where it actually came from? It's a complete mystery.
Okay, so there are three big theories floating around. The first one is kind of romantic. The story goes that co-founder William Durant saw the pattern on some wallpaper in a Paris hotel and just had to have it. The second theory, which some researchers think is the real one, is that he lifted it from a newspaper ad for a fuel company called Colette's. And the third? That it's a slick, stylized version of the Swiss cross, a nod to the homeland of the guy who gave the company its name, Louis Chevrolet. The brand's whole identity kicks off with a debate. Crazy, right?
To really get Chevrolet, you have to understand the two guys who kicked it all off. Their partnership was this powerful and honestly pretty volatile clash between two totally different worlds, the roar of the racetrack and the cold, hard calculations of the boardroom.
So, on one side, you've got Louis Chevrolet, a famous Swiss-born race car driver who basically had gasoline pumping through his veins. For him, it was all about speed, performance, and beautiful engineering. And on the other side, William "Billy" Durant. This guy was a corporate genius who had already founded General Motors only to get forced out by the bankers. So for Durant, this wasn't just about building another car company. Oh no, this was his master plan to get his empire back.
And this is where the story gets wild. Durant gets kicked out of GM in 1910. What does he do? He immediately teams up with the world-famous racer Louis Chevrolet. He uses that famous name to build a super successful new company. By 1916, Chevy is making so much money that Durant uses the profits to start secretly buying up GM stock. And then, in the ultimate corporate chess move, he merges Chevrolet into General Motors, which makes him the majority shareholder. Just like that, he's back in the president's chair. It was one of the most brilliant and gutsy corporate takeovers in history.
So with Durant back running GM, Chevrolet had a new mission. It wasn't going to be some niche brand. Nope. It was going to be the company's volume leader, the car for absolutely everyone. And this is where it really became, the heartbeat of America.
You want to know how dominant they got? I mean, really dominant? Get this. By 1963, a mind-blowing 1 out of every 10 cars sold in the entire United States was a Chevrolet. Think about that. That kind of market share for just one brand, it's almost impossible to imagine today. So what was the secret sauce behind this? Well, it was a simple but totally revolutionary idea. After Durant got pushed out again, yeah, that happened, his successor, a guy named Alfred P. Sloan, came up with this vision of a car for every person purpose. This was a direct shot at Ford's Model T, which was basically a one-size-fits-all deal. Sloan built a ladder of brands inside GM, and Chevrolet was the strong, affordable foundation for the whole thing.
And man, did that strategy give us some legends. You really can't tell the story of America in the 20th century without talking about these cars. The 53 Corvette, this radical fiberglass sports car that looked like nothing else, the 57 Bel Air with those iconic fins, the Impala, which became one of the best-selling cars ever. And of course, you've got the tough-as-nails Silverado and the muscular Camaro. These weren't just vehicles, they were part of the culture.
But here's the thing. We think of Chevy as this all-American icon, right? Driving down Route 66. But that's only half the story. The brand's ambition was always global. It grew into this massive international powerhouse, an empire where the sun truly never set on that bow tie logo.
Just take a look at these numbers from 2011. They give you a perfect snapshot of that global muscle. Yeah, the US is number one, no surprise there, but look at Brazil and China. Together, they sold over 1 million cars. These weren't just little side markets, they were absolutely essential pillars of Chevrolet's entire global strategy, selling more than a bunch of other major countries combined. I mean, this chart really puts it into perspective. The sheer scale of what they were doing in Brazil and China was just immense. And this wasn't just about shipping American cars overseas. No, this was a really sophisticated operation, building cars specifically for those markets, often right there in those countries. And their strategy for global expansion was pretty brilliant. For example, when they wanted to relaunch the brand in Europe in 2005, they didn't send a bunch of cars over from Detroit. Instead, they mostly sold vehicles built by GM Daewoo in South Korea and just put a Chevy badge on them. This let them offer affordable cars that were right for the market, letting them build the brand from the ground up, one continent at a time. Super smart.
So innovation has always been in Chevrolet's DNA, right from their very first engines to those iconic designs. So as the entire car industry is making this massive pivot to an electric future, it's really no surprise that Chevy is right there, aiming to lead the charge once again.
Before the world was totally ready to go all electric, Chevrolet built a bridge. And that bridge was the plug-in hybrid. It was the best of both worlds, right? You had an electric motor for your quiet, zero-emissions daily commute, but for long trips, a little gas engine would kick in, not to power the wheels, but to act as a generator and recharge the battery. It was the perfect way to get rid of that range anxiety everyone was worried about.
You can really see their path to electrification as a deliberate two-step plan. First, in 2010, came the Volt. It was a huge success. It became the best-selling plug-in electric car in the world. Then, once people got used to the idea of plugging in their cars, Chevy took the next huge leap, the all-electric Bolt EV in 2016. And this thing was a real game changer. It was the first affordable, mass-market electric car that could go over 200 miles on a charge, making EVs a practical choice for millions of people.
And the Bolt wasn't just a car, it was a phenomenon. I mean, the awards just speak for themselves. Motor Trend Car of the Year, North American Car of the Year. It was even named one of Time Magazine's best inventions. This wasn't just seen as a good electric car. Critics recognized it as one of the best cars, period. It totally cemented Chevrolet's place as a major, serious player in the EV revolution.
And that kind of brings us full circle to the future. Back in the 1920s, it was the affordable, super reliable stove-bolt six-cylinder engine that gave Chevy the edge it needed to take over the market. Almost a century later, the Bolt EV did pretty much the same thing for the electric age. So as Chevrolet drives into its next 100 years, the big question isn't about cylinders and gasoline anymore. Now it's all about batteries and software. What's the next big innovation that's going to define the next chapter of this American empire?